by which you go from Minnesota to Manitoba back to Minnesota because, you know, the North American map was drawn up by the National Poetry Society. Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to maps. And specifically, what the heck is going on with the US map? I'm just going to give it to you straight, it's mental. And I can hear Uncle Toby right now, ooh, Lawrence, it's just a map, you know, a bloody big map, but a map nonetheless. Yes, in theory, but there are some peculiarities that need our utmost attention. Indeed, I've spoken before about some of America's geographical oddities, such as the fact that Reno, Nevada is further west than Los Angeles, or how some parts of Michigan are further north than some parts of Canada. But what if I told you there's another phenomenon at work in which the United States seems to specialize? No, not flying saucers, which, as I established on Twitter, are not the work of aliens, but future human time travelers. Now, I'm talking about a different phenomenon. Exclaves. What's an exclave? An exclave, noun, is a portion of territory of one state completely surrounded by a territory of another or others as viewed by their home territory. And it turns out the more that I pinch in on Google Maps, the more I realize that the US is home to a surprising number of exclaves. Now, for the purposes of time, I'm not going to give you them all. Instead, let's take a look at my 5 favorite American exclaves of all time, right? Other people rank these things as well. Let's begin in the state that I'm currently living in, Illinois, or should that be Missouri? Kaskaskia, Illinois, once the capital of the entire state, which is some feat considering it's not contained within Illinois' traditional boundary. You see, a large flood in 1881 wiped out most of the town, and crucially the Mississippi River shifted eastward to a new channel. And so because the Mississippi is considered a boundary line between Illinois and Missouri, Kaskaskia is now an exclave of Illinois because you can only get to it via Missouri. And now I've got to wonder, what if an Illinois resident is legally exiled from Missouri, but happens to live in Kaskaskia? I would say swim the Mississippi every day, but then they'd be exiled from Illinois. Yes, Carter Lake, Iowa, not to be confused with its anagram, Crater Lake in Oregon, which is its own phenomenon. This city in Iowa sits on the Nebraska side of the Missouri River. We've all done it. To that end, it is the only Iowa city to sit west of the Missouri, and at a time when America was undergoing westward expansion, it seems that even the weather was hell-bent on redrawing the map. You see, another flood in 1877 caused the Missouri to change course at this point of the river by 2 kilometers to the southeast. And what remained of the old river became present-day Carter Lake. And the two states took legal action over ownership of the city of Carter Lake. But in 1892, the United States Supreme Court ruled in favor of Iowa. And Iowa was like, ha 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 ha, we beat you, Nebraska. And Nebraska came back with, well, we've got you surrounded, so shut up. For all its straight lines and rectangles, America sure does love its bends. South Bend, Indiana. Bend, Oregon, home to the world's last remaining blockbuster. And Kentucky Bend. Kentucky Bend is this breakaway dot at the extreme western point of Kentucky. It's specifically an exclave of Fulton County, Kentucky, for the very reason that you have to drive through Tennessee to get there. And this one arose because when the boundary between Tennessee and Kentucky was first drawn up, there was confusion over the course of the Mississippi River, which is proving more and more to be a deeply inconsiderate body of water. And the situation was compounded further by a geological event that I've spoken about before. The New Madrid earthquakes of 1811 to 1812 were so powerful they are believed to have reversed the flow of the Mississippi. And to be quite honest, after all of the shenanigans, it deserved it. Finn's Point is a promontory in New Jersey, but in the words of the Secretary of Defense from the film Independence Day,
that's not entirely accurate.
You see, owing to the manner in which the border between Delaware and New Jersey was first laid out, when the tide is out, a small part of the promontory is in Newcastle County, Delaware. So on this occasion, Della really did wear a New Jersey. Sorry about that. Northwest angle. Remember earlier when I said that part of Michigan was north of part of Canada? Well, I ain't got nothing on this. Part of Minnesota is in Canada. You see, Northwest Angle is separated from the rest of, can we call it mainland Minnesota, by Lake of the Woods, sharing its land border with Canada. Now, admittedly, you can access it from mainland Minnesota by boat, if the lake isn't frozen over. Otherwise, you get there by plane or by the interstate, by which you go from Minnesota to Manitoba back to Minnesota because, you know, the North American map was drawn up by the National Poetry Society. And a fun fact about Northwest Angle is that it contains the northernmost point in the lower 48. And it's important there that I emphasize lower 48 because Alaska is home to the world's largest exclave, and that exclave is Alaska itself. Okay, so technically it's a semi-exclave because you can access Alaska from the lower 48 via the sea, but American drivers are forced to go through Canada, which that makes it sound like a bad thing, but it's not, because A, Canada looks amazing, and B, you can stop off at America on the way. And today I'm going to leave you with this. What could be more American than the Statue of Liberty? She's French, right. Regardless, she herself stands on a great American exclave. Liberty Island, although under the jurisdiction of New York, is surrounded by water belonging to none other than New Jersey. Could it be said that Lady Liberty herself is lost in the pond? That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments below your 5 favourite exclaves. I'm Lawrence Brown. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. An Alaska-sized shout out to all of my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so at patreon.com/LostInThePond. Until the next video, goodbye.